Game 1 of the Winner Stays On, and here we go. Spawning in the northwest of the map, playing in blue, we've got Beastyqt playing as the Mongols, and as we open the map, spawning in the southeast of the map, we have Hera playing in yellow, unusually, playing as the French civilization. GiveUA, taking a little bit of a look at this map right now, anything that's standing out to you early, we can go and take a look now at the Mongols, see as typical. That's a really nice looking spot there for the Mongol town center, wedged in between a woodline and a gold mine. That is really, really nice looking. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so looking at the map, I'm looking at Hera's map right now, and how easy is it for Hera to wall off his base? You know, if a tower rush is coming, does he have the possibility of walling off his base? And the answer is yes and no. It's some multis you can wall very, very easily, and this is not one of them. Yes, you can place some walls there, but it is going to be pretty costly. It's not an easily wallable multi, so it's a little bit unfortunate for him. I will have to see if he goes for walls. I don't think he's going to. I'm not sure if I've ever seen him, do the walls like that on ulti. But it definitely could be an option. And looking at BC's base, is he does have a really nice spawn with his town center, where the TC is next to the wood line and the gold mine. But where is his stone? Is his Uvu outside of TC range? It looks like.
Oh wow, we can tell. Yeah, that's outside of that's way outside the TC range over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes that happens. Like when you're playing as Mongols, if you can get the Uvu within the range of the TC, then it's like very, very safe, and like you can't get like harassed with scouts or anything. And sometimes when it's outside of range like this, like you might feel as if you need to build a tower. But I mean, he's building bears here, so it looks like he's going to be doing the typical tower rush. And there we go. We got 2 spearmen out and 1 villager moving forward. So we're very quickly getting into the action, and 1 sheep going down.
So that's one of the things we see in this matchup. Like you said, the action is incredibly quick. I mean, we're at the 2-minute mark. We've already got those spearmen walking towards Hera's base. You're really not made to wait very long to see action. This, unlike some other matchups where, on Hill and Dale, you can see 8 or 9 minutes before your first unit comes out. But none of that happening here. So we're going to start seeing the old Mongol tower play. I think you're quite right there. And now what's Hera going to be thinking to try and defend against this? As we see the first tower already going up very, very quick, like really kind of on the ball there. 2 spearmen start coming around side of the base. What's now, as a kind of a very high level player yourself, what's going through Hera's mind? Now he's going to have been expecting this approach. It's fair to say this is pretty much the obvious meta. It's been happening a lot on the rank ladder. What is the typical French defense for this approach?
Yeah, so there's a couple different options. It looks like Hera is going for an age 1 barrack, so I think he's going to try to do spearmen and perhaps the tower himself, which, this is very, very difficult to defend, as we all know. The Mongols being able to double produce spearmen means they're just going to have more spearmen than you, so you can't force a fight. Hera's just going to try to defend and take as little damage as possible, and then maybe try to sneak up to H3. But he does have 2 scouts here, just collecting the sheep. And, yeah, it's going to be tough, but Hera's going to try to deny these towers from going up.
Yeah, that's already, at least he's already bought himself a little bit of time there, coming in on the tower, stopping that tower going straight up. Got those spears quite nicely positioned. But, of course...
what's your game time, really quick?
I'm at 3:59, 4 minutes dead. Do you want me to pause it for a second?
I think we're okay.
Alright. So we're seeing a little bit of a skirmish happening over that tower, and this is kind of obviously very important in the early game of anything involving the Mongols, how quickly these towers can get up, how long Hera can deny them. He's already done a pretty good job there of denying that tower for a while. Ultimately, like you said, it's kind of inevitable that it's gonna get up as these spearmen start coming in a little bit quicker for Beastie than Hera can keep up with. But yeah, eventually that tower gets up, the 2 villagers go inside, and that's going to start firing down right now. Is Hera going to be relatively pleased with the start? I mean, they look pretty even right now on spear numbers. The issue is, of course, that the Mongol numbers are just going to start really, really accumulating very quickly from here as the villagers move around the back of the town centre and keep these towers coming up with this very unpopular Mongol tower rush. But Yeah, right now Hera's having a pretty tough job stopping it, but as you were saying, it's almost impossible to stop. It's just about whether Hera's got a bit of a plan in the long term to do that. He does bring his villagers round there in quite a nice position. He's going to actually... No, he's not going to be able to take that tower down as the spearmans are well positioned from Beastyqt. They're going to manage to get in the way before he can do that. And now he's got the villagers garrisoned inside there as well.
Yeah, this is looking scary for Hera. I mean, once the towers get built for Mongols, like on your wood lines, it just becomes very scary. And yeah, BC has 2 towers built right next to the wood line there. So, you know, Hera at some point will have to go to a new wood line. It's looking very dicey for him at the moment. And here we go, 3rd tower up on the berries and gold. Hera has not gathered any gold himself, so he's really just playing this in H1. And it's so tough to dive these towers. The 1 tower is pretty low HP though, and Hera isn't a go for this tower actually.
Oh, it's really low HP. In fact, it's going to go... Oh! it does go down, so he does manage to take a tower down, which is a mini victory. And look, I think we can be frank here, right? Because it's no secret that this is maybe an unpopular part of the game. It's likely, I think, to get changed. I think that's a pretty much the consensus. In fact, I mean, we don't know exactly when a patch is coming, but the easiness with which this happens, we imagine is going to change in a patch. Whether that's coming in days or weeks, we don't yet know, but likely to change quite soon. In the same time, hard to blame Beastyqt in what is an important game for you know, playing the best way to play the game, as they're actually going for quite a significant confrontation, and Hera's actually just going to take this spear on spear fight right now, and it doesn't actually look so bad for Hera. There are some significant numbers going down there for Beastyqt. That looks pretty effective. In fact, Hera seems to definitely have a few more on the field, and at least in terms of numbers, that's looking okay. Of course, he's fighting under those outposts, but he stops a few of them going up, and maybe not looking so bad all of a sudden.
Yeah, and Hera getting his own tower built on that gold mine was really big there, and it was able to help a bit in that fight. So, yeah, Hera's looking pretty decent here. It's just so close game. He's going to now start gathering gold, trying to age up. And BC's now in age 2. So we'll have to see how the game progresses from here.
So taking a look at Hera's resources, and he puts down the School of Cavalry. So he does manage to start aging up right now. And so question is, can he hold off this? Of course, I mean, basically Beastie is going to have to keep coming in right now, because if he lets this be a pure eco fight from this point, it's not going to go very well from him. So he's going to have to keep the pressure coming on. He's going to anticipate that Hera is going to be taking this opportunity with this lull in the action to age up, which he's of course doing. You can see how important it is for him to age up very quickly with those 10 villagers on the School of Cavalry, just trying to get that up really, really as quickly as possible. In the meantime, Beastie already now playing in Feudal, so Hera does look like he's going to be able to get up. All of a sudden, Beastie's not sure that he's got the numbers to keep going in, and he's probably right that, especially if he wants to try and take a fight under Town Center Fire, he doesn't really have the numbers to do that. He's not managed to get full coverage with these outposts as well, so Hera does have kind of the other side to himself, and he completes that age up, and he's going to start... well, I don't know if he's going to start making Royal Knights into those spears, but what's Hera's next course of action from this point, now that he's managed to get up, he's repelled the first attack?
He's building a tower right now on his wood line, but this outpost from BC is being researched right now to arrow slits, so I'm not sure. It might be able to deny this tower. These 2 villagers building the tower might start getting attacked as soon as arrow slits gets completed here.
Wow.
And yeah, that build, the low HP build too, he is going to go down there.
Oh, and the second one's going to go down too. I don't even know if Hera noticed that. In fact, there's no way he noticed that happening, because, wow, that is incredibly quick. That tower like 3-shotted those villagers, and yeah, in the end, 2 villagers were lost to that tower. And now he's going to start sending the hardened spearmen to try and take down some more of these outposts. He kind of wants to break out from underneath his town center, but not yet.
Yeah, it's so hard to attack these towers, like when they're upgraded with arrow slits. And here we go, now Beastie actually diving Hera's tower, and yeah, Hera's spearman a little bit out of position, gonna have to get there, try to defend the tower, and looking a little bit tricky. Hera did upgrade this tower, or he is upgrading it with arrow slits at the moment.
Now, looking at the resources, it looks like Beastie is going to very quickly get to age 3. That's almost definitely looks like at least that's what he's macroing for, which which is going to be really even more problematic for Hera if he manages to do it. He's desperately trying to get this outpost down around the town center, which he's going to probably be able to do. Although he's going to now he's going to pull back. It's going to be very, very close. He is going to be able to take it back. Beasty's decided not to take that full confrontation, but at quite significant cost there. He's lost. Well, he's already just down to the 2 spearmen, so that's actually not going to go down in the end unless the outpost basically completes the job for him. But I think the bigger problem right now for Hera is that Beasty is any second now going to click down. We'll take a look at his base, but any second he's going to be placing down his Age 3 landmark as he hits 600 gold, and there goes the step readout. So problems just piling up more and more for Hera, the French player here.
Yeah, and this is the power of the Mongols at the moment. Like, this is a perfect example of the Mongol meta, in my eyes, is that you do a tower rush in H1, you put on the aggression, and then you sneak up to H3 behind this because, you know, the step readout is just so good, gets you gold so quickly, and then you can double produce units. Like, you might have some stone stockpiled, you can double produce man-at-arms, you can double produce knights. Mongols, they just have a very good semi-FC, and it's so tricky with French or other civs. Like, you saw Hera dive that tower, and towers, they're just so strong, it never feels like you can kill them cost efficiently, especially Mongol towers. Like, even if, okay, that tower did go down, the tower cost 70 wood. Like, Hera lost like 10 units in the process. You know, if you'll never take a cost-efficient trade when diving a tower like that, and that's part of the really big strength of the Mongols.
And Hera going in for a little bit of a one-night raid here, but that is just not going to happen. Spotted from the very middle of the map there by Beasty as he starts chasing around that knight, and I mean, that knight has actually, I mean, it's lost basically. He needs to be careful he doesn't actually lose it at that point. Take a little look back and you just see this constant fire coming in from the outpost around Hera's base, so he doesn't have very much room to work with. And that knight actually goes down. I mean, that is just so tilting for Hera that his one knight was quickly taken down. So unsuccessful attempt at a raid there. And right now, if we take a look at the economy, we can take a look at the income per minute, and that is just looking very, very good for Beasty. Hera does have a bit of a food advantage, but very significant gold advantage for Beasty. And I mean, is there a way back from here? I mean, how does Hera even look at getting it? He can't really get Age 3. What can he even do from this position? He does start walling up these choke points.
Hera is actually aging. He's got a guild hall in the back of his base there.
Missed by me, sorry. So Hera very much can age. Hera very much can age as he hits Age 3 as well. That was a bit of a miss from me. So Hera does manage to get to Age 3. Does that, a different question then, does that change the situation? I mean, Hera did manage to get to Age 3 despite the pressure.
I mean, yes and no. Like, he's now under a lot of pressure. Pretty much all of his eco is idled. He has no military. Hera's still in a very tough spot at the moment. I'm sure he's in H3, but yeah, he's behind in eco, behind in military. He's farming right now, so these towers are doing a fair amount of damage, but the Khan does go down there too. A little bit sloppy letting the Khan die there. So yeah, the towers are going to push back the Mongol units here. Let's see, Beasty is at 42 villagers and Hera is at 40, so vill counts are pretty even. Beasty does have the Uvu, which is about 2.5 vills or so, and Hera does have the guild hall, but then, you know, of course, the step readout is also extremely good for the gold generation, so yeah, Hera's holding on for now, but well, it's still tough for his Mongols here, so we'll have to see what Hera goes for. And he is dropping a barrack, so it looks like he may be going for some man-at-arm play.
Now, interesting, of course, Hera, what he will be able to do from this point is start building, not starting the whole time. He does have that slightly faster villager production, so you would expect that Hera's going to be able to keep up now with the Mongol economy, perhaps even overtake it relatively soon, especially when he's got that massive guild hall shipment coming in at some point in the game. We'll see what resource he's got it on, but often we see, players starting with food in the early game, then transitioning to gold in the mid to late game. So, I mean, he has managed to hold off that early pressure, and I don't know, it feels to me like it might be relatively even for this point.
Yeah, but okay, here's the big issue for Hera right now, as he is starting to get raided by 2 knights, which is devastating in itself. But look at Hera's food situation. and getting raided on the wood line. Hera, he has like 4 farms. He has a tower on his berries, so he can't use his berries. He doesn't have any hunt nearby. How is he going to gather food right now? Like, he would need to build more farms, and yeah, this is really tough. He's getting raided on multiple angles, and yeah, he's having a food crisis at the moment.
Yeah, and a number of villagers did go down there. In the end, all 4 knights will likely go down, as that knight is going to escape with, well, it escapes with 9 HP, but 3 knights did go down there, but yeah, maybe Beasty might not mind that too much. He did do a pretty good amount of damage there. Take a look now at the villager count, down to 38 vills from Hera, so that was a pretty effective raid. Of course, he does have these outposts on the wood line, but there's a lot of villagers out there, and they can only hold 5 each, so it's not going to provide safe haven for all of the villagers, and he does do a pretty good job with the raid there, BC. And I guess what is pretty tilting being raided very hard as French when that's meant to be your Civ speciality, but it's obviously just so strong the way that the Mongols play this opening that just getting the opportunity to start going and raiding with those Royal Knights is very, very difficult. He builds another lumber camp there to reduce the walk time, but could maybe even do with 1 or 2 more outposts, but again, that's very, very expensive for him. He's not got so much wood to be doing that. Looks like he's now going to start pushing forward a little bit with these veteran spearmen, and I mean, the composition-wise, it looks good, but maybe mobility will start causing a bit of an issue, and he does manage to catch he catches the low HP knight and catches the low HP spearman, so takes down a couple of units, and it looks like Hera's going to go and start putting on some pressure of his own now.
Yeah, he does have some knights in the back of his base, though, coming by, and BC might get another big raid here. If we'll have to see Hera's reaction time. Hera does react instantly, so Villager does go down to the charge there, though. Probably going to lose, yeah, another one there. So, meanwhile, he's trying to push forward with Spearmen, but, yeah, I mean, Beasty can just produce man-at-arms, and these Spearmen are going to be very weak. I do like that Hera built the Siege Workshop here. Like, Hera realizes has a food crisis. Like, there's no way for him to gather food. So you can't produce food-heavy units if you just can't gather food. So I do like the decision of dropping a Siege Workshop, and that way you can still gather wood and gold, and you can at least get like military out on the field, by producing a lot of mangonels or string oats. But yeah, I mean, he's still in a very, very tough position. These knights just running around the entire base, getting a lot of villager picks here.
And that was like 7 or 8 villagers going down there for Hera. That was a really brutal raid that he spotted at that back gold mine. That was really, really, really nasty stuff. Taking a little look at the villager count, 33 villagers now for Hera. Compare that to Beasty with his 55 villagers. That feels like, I mean, that's the game, isn't it? That's a 20 villager gap already at this point. Not taking into account the Uvu, which is another turn. That's a huge villager gap. I mean, he does have these knights penned in here by this palisade wall, but that's just not gonna matter too much. That's a huge economic difference. I mean, can Hera close it from here? It feels really bad. Looking around the base of Beastyqt, again, he's been able to basically just keep his economy operating in tranquility for this whole game, while Hera's been constantly harassed. Another raid coming in right now between the outposts. He's got the mangonel out, but just doesn't have any villagers left.
Yeah, I think one thing Hera could have done a little bit better is he could have tried to make some more walls. Sometimes you don't have to have your base completely closed off, but if you can make walls that like funnel enemy units into your TC, and it can kind of save some of your vills, make the raids less painful. So yeah, I think he could have added a little bit more walls, but yeah, he was in a tough position. I mean, from the get-go in this game, right? Like, H1, Tower Rush coming. Hera's just been playing from behind the entire game, and yeah, it's never a good feeling when you feel like, you're losing from a very early point, and you're just like trying not to die. You're trying to hold on somehow, but yeah, it's very tough in this situation.
Now, one thing that Hera does not do is give in very easily. I mean, he's been seen coming back from insane games, including when he he hung on for an incredible Sacred Site victory to beat Vortix in Game 6 in the last Winner Stays On. So he's definitely going to try and keep away at this for a little bit. And he's coming in with these mangonels right now, which, I mean, taking a little look at, maybe relatively effective here, but the spring odds come out, and that's going to present a huge problem right now when those Springolds get in range, which they're going to do pretty quickly. And yeah, Hera's actually just going to retreat. He managed to spot those Springolds and just knows that's too much of a problem and needs to very quickly get back and hope those Knights don't get on top of them, which they're in danger of doing.
Yeah, so Hera's thought process is he knows he got raided, he knows he lost a ton of eco, and he's aware that, okay, I'm now down in villager count significantly, so the only chance for me to win is if I somehow do a ton of damage in the next, like, minute or two. Because if I just play passively, his better eco is just going to win the game. So, you know, Hera is aware he's very far behind, and he was just trying to do, like, a desperation push. And then, you know, you see the Springolds, then, you know, you have to back. But yeah, sometimes you're in these situations where you're extremely far behind, and you have to basically throw a Hail Mary and, you know, do something crazy. But yeah, that's just where Hera was. That was his thought process, and he realizes he's not going to be able to win this one, so he taps out. Game 1 going to Beasty.
Wow, and that's... I mean, Beasty played that very well. Also feels like a bit of a Civ victory. I'm imagining Hera's not going to be feeling too horrendous about it. In that, you know, that's a really tough one to win. We'll take a little look at the villager count.